I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Wednesday, February 15th, 2023. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. I think if you asked most bodybuilding fans who they have coming in first and second at the Arnold Classic, 9 times out of 10 you're going to hear Ramon Dino and Urs Kalasinski in one way or another, depending on which way they're leaning. But I'll tell you what, classic physique fans might want to start wrapping their heads around the possibility of Mike Sommerfeld playing the role of spoiler here, because he looks like he's coming in very hot. Mike is in the same boat as Ramon and Urs in the sense that he also had a short turnaround time from his Olympia prep heading into the Arnold. But by all accounts, he's made the most out of his opportunity, and the general consensus from his camp seems to be that he'll have the best conditioning of his career when he hits the stage in a few weeks. So if he builds on the 5th place look he had back in December, and either one of these top 2 guys show any chinks in their armor, don't be surprised if he ends up sliding into one of those top 2 spots when the final scorecards are tallied. I guess Hot Take Wednesday must be in full effect, because Jay Cutler kicked up a little bit of a stir after he had some high praise for Andrew Jacked on a recent episode of his podcast. According to Jay, if Andrew shows up at his best, he has the potential to be the most unstoppable force in bodybuilding, which is a huge statement when you consider the fact that we're talking about a second-year guy who's still in the process of trying to get himself established in the pecking order. Granted, he did have a pretty incredible rookie year, and his best days are clearly still in front of him. But for someone like Jay to say that he believes Andrew is good enough to run the table, given the level of talent that we have at the top of the open right now, still feels like it could be putting the cart ahead of the horse to a certain extent. However, he probably also has the most dark horse potential to upset the entire lineup at the Arnold in a few weeks. And if that's the way things go, I don't think there's any question that it shifts the narrative on him. Not to mention the fact that it will make Jay's take on it seem like it might not have been so far out of left field after all. I know that the season hasn't even gotten started yet, but now might be a time to jump on the Marc Hector bandwagon, because that bad boy might start to fill up quickly once he gets going. Over the last few weeks, we've started to see a handful of updates filter out from Marc's camp, and right now all signs seem to be pointing towards him picking right back up where he left off toward the tail end of the last season, when he really started to come into his own. Had it not been for a leg injury that ended up sidelining him before he had a chance to hit his full stride, there's a good chance that the narrative on him would be a lot different heading into the season, because we saw him give some high-level guys all they can handle on a few separate occasions last year. Marc's one of those guys who seems to be checking all the right boxes on paper. So if he can take the next step by being more consistent with his conditioning, watch out, because he's got all the tools to be one of the real breakout stars of 23. We also have an off-season update for you today from Marcella DeAngelis, who looks like he's starting to round himself into shape for the new start of this rookie campaign. This might feel like it was 1,000 years ago at this point, but if you can remember back to last year, there was a period of time when people were predicting that Marcella could potentially challenge Chris Bumstead for a shot at the Classic Physique title. But that ship ended up sailing before we ever had a chance to see how true that was, because he wasn't able to make weight ahead of his first show, which is a big part of the reason why he made the move to the open class for the foreseeable future. He already has great flow and aesthetics to his physique, so from that standpoint, he shouldn't have any trouble making the jump up in competition. But the real test will be whether or not he has enough size to hold his own against some of the bigger guys in the division. Because if he proves that he can do it, he might be one of the most interesting stories of 23. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.